Hey YouTube world, a little video here about the engine knock or engine rattle on one of the little portable 800/900 watt Harbor Freight Tools generators that some guys are concerned about, or at least talking about. I'm going to tell you it's not. It's not an engine knock, it's not an engine rattle. I'm not going to tell you that these are the highest quality generators on the market for 89 bucks when you get them on sale, but that rattle you hear is an exhaust ping. A lot of guys think it's play in the bearings on the top end or bottom end of the conrod or piston slap. If that was the case, this thing would not last very long at all under load. So let's get a little closer so you can hear the sound. Rattle there that you're hearing, even just the fact that it comes and goes, it's intermittent, will tell you that it's not piston slap, it's not too much play in the bearings on the big end or the little end of the rod. If that was the case, it'd be constant. But here's more evidence. I got my shop vac plugged in, and if you do the math, the shop vac draws more than what the generator can handle. Let me give this little guy a little bit of choke. He's running a bit lean. Yeah, the shop vac technically draws more current than what the generator can handle. So plugging in the shop vac is certainly loading the little guy up. And as soon as I do that, I'll switch the shop vac on, you'll hear that rattle go away because it's an exhaust thing. Alright, ready? There's the noise. Gone. That noise is no longer there. I'll turn the shop back off and it'll come back. So there you go. When I first bought this thing, let me step back a bit so you can hear me. When I first bought this thing, I plugged in the shop vac specifically because it was max load for the generator, and I used it to run it in. I don't usually run things into, I don't worry about it, but because it was a cheap unit, I let it run for a little while without any load. I let it warm right up. I'd hit the switch, give it some load for about 15-20 seconds or maybe 30 seconds, then I'd switch it off and let it just run on its own without load for a while. And I did that back and forth and played with it for a little while, and then I think a few days later I came out, I did it again. I switched on the shop vac and let the generator run under full load like that for over an hour. So trust me, if that was a sloppy piston in the cylinder slapping away, if that was big end or little end conrod bearing slap, this thing would not be together. I've probably this thing hasn't had a lot of hours, but it's probably had, I don't know, 15-20 hours. It would have let go by now under full load. So, but as you can see, the sound's gone. So it's an exhaust ping without load. It's just a little pinging away of the exhaust. So there you go. Back in the garage now, my absolutely trashed, messy garage. Yeah, coming out of winter now, and I was in the garage putzing around in winter, so I had something to do, and yeah, my bench is trashed. I've got crap everywhere. But there she is. Look, just in case you missed, I did a review on this thing a while back, and just in case you missed it, I'll go over a couple of things, and also a redneck modification that I just did, and yeah, it's pretty bad, but there's bourbon involved, so that's when the worst redneck modifications come out, right? Yeah, top little unit for 89 bucks. You pick them, I think retails like 130 something, but you hunt around for them. Coming in the spring now here in the United States, you're probably going to get these on sale. So yeah, keep an eye out for the catalogue. Can't go wrong with these little guys. One thing I did though, here's your air filter and carburetor, your air intake chamber there. And it's not much of an air filter. That's it. It's a block of foam sponge that you really got to I just pulled this out a little while ago and cleaned it in hot soapy water, and the old trick that I did was put some engine oil in the sponge and then squeezed out the excess. So it's oil coated to help trap any dust that goes through. But yeah, it's not much of a filter at all. Now the air, that's a screw hole. The air is drawn in through those two holes into a square box here. It goes in, hits the back of the box, swirls out, passed through the filter, and then here through to the carburetor. So what I did was, as I said, it's a very poor, very crappy filter. So what I decided to do, I said these two intake tubes go into a box. So I decided to put in, I thought, well, there's enough room there. There was about a 1/2 inch gap between these intake tubes and the back of the box. So I thought there's room for another filter in there, right? Another piece of sponge filter as a primary or pre-cleaner, if you like. If dust storm picks up or whatever, the first filter is going to catch the crap. And before it goes through the second one. So I thought, yeah, 2 filters are better than 1. So here's the redneck part. A piece of used kitchen sponge. Yes, I am going to replace it. Once that was like a test just to make sure that it was still going to get enough air flow to run and without running too rich. And yes, it does work. So yeah, I will replace that with another, better piece of proper air filter sponge, air filter foam. But for now, piece of crusty old kitchen sponge. I just hacked a piece off, soaked it in oil, squeezed out the excess, 1 inch by 1.5 inch, jammed it in there. And there's a second filter, a primary or pre-filter if you want to call it so. And it starts and runs just fine. It may even help this start a little easier. The only thing I don't like about this, it is a bit of a turd to start, and it's nothing to do with the spark plug. And everyone says, go out and change the factory spark plug. That's the first thing you got to do. Yeah, I did that. Just for the hell of it, but just a follow on like every other lemming. But there was nothing wrong with the original spark plug. There's nothing wrong with the second spark plug. It's a fuel issue. This always, it starts every single time, but it just takes 12 to 15 pulls before it starts sucking enough fuel through to start. And I know that because I've tested it. I've done it, I've owned this thing for well over 12 months now, and it's always 12 to 15 pulls to get it to start. But it always starts. And what I've done 3 different times to test it, I've put a little bit of easy start or aero start, squirted a bit, pulled the spark plug out and squirted a bit straight in the cylinder, and it fires up immediately. So it's not a spark plug thing, it's not an ignition thing, it's a fuel thing. And for some reason, even under full choke, it takes 12 to 15 pulls to actually, suck enough fuel into the cylinder to run. So, but yeah, it does run lean. I'm in central Pennsylvania, as I think I said, and without load, when I first started, I let it run on full choke for 30 seconds. Even without load, I've got to run the thing on half choke. Otherwise it'll hunt, it'll rev up and down and cut out. If I start it up and then take the choke off, it'll shut down, it'll die, which means it's running too lean. And, there's not really any adjustment on these modern day carburetors. Thank you very much to, emission control and emission laws. So it is what it is, that's, instead of having a mixture screw on the carburetor to tune, you tune it with the choke. I've got a large 4-stroke generator. I've got to do exactly the same thing. It just depends on your altitude. So, yeah, the higher you go in altitude, the the better it'll run, because you'll have less air. It'll run richer and it'll be fine. So in central Pennsylvania, I think we're only about 2,000 feet above sea level. So yeah, there's a lot more air, which means it's going to run leaner. But there you go. That's my redneck mod, piece of kitchen sponge for a primary, or if you want to call it a primary filter or pre-filter. That's my redneck hack. Alright guys, thanks for watching. But yeah, I'll finish off with the main topic. It's not an engine knock. It's not an engine knock. It's not an engine rattle. It's not piston slap. It's not big end or little end bearing noise. It's an exhaust ping. So buy it, 89 bucks. I've seen guys on YouTube saying they got it as cheap as 75. Buy one. Use the crap out of it. Beat the crap out of it. If it dies, get another one. Thanks for watching.